Hello, it's Irel, and welcome to the Chef Coach channel. I am both a chef and a coach with a degree in culinary and an ISSA certification. I share easy and beginner-friendly recipes and workouts. Welcome to Cheap, Easy, and Delicious Meal Series, where I make family dinners for less than $20. Today, we're making a loaded breakfast casserole. Let's get started with our mise en place. Before cooking, you really want to have everything that you need because there's nothing more annoying when you realize that you're missing something in the middle of cooking. We're going to start with cutting out vegetables. First, with the bell peppers, stand the peppers up and cut the sides. Now I always try to use up as much of the ingredients as I can, so make sure you use the bottom and the stem area as well. Most people just throw those out, and you really don't have to. Moving on to the onions. This is how I cut my onions. Cut the top of the onion and trim the roots off if there are any. Lay it flat where you just cut it and then slice it straight down in the middle. Peel the skin off of the onion and then lay it flat once again and slice it from the root down and do it all the way across. Now slice it into small dice and set those aside. That's the easiest way to cut an onion if you've never cut an onion before. Now for the garlic. Use as much garlic as you would like, but for the sake of the recipe, I'm going to use about 2 to 3 cloves. You want this minced, or if you have one of these cool contraptions, then you can use that too. Now that the vegetables are all done and prepped, now we're going to move on to the egg mixture. We're going to crack about 6 eggs into a bowl. Make sure that the egg yolks and the whites are completely mixed. Then add the cream and continue to mix. Doing it like this will ensure that you don't end up with random chunks of scrambled eggs in your casserole. Don't forget to season with salt and pepper and mix. Now we're going to set that aside. Now that the prep is done, let's get to cooking. Always add oil to a cold pot or pan. This way you can prevent splattering. Once everything is warmed up properly, you can add in your meat. We are going to saute the meat first for 2 reasons. It has the longest cooking time, but most importantly, it's going to create some fond in the pan, which is the little brown bits that's left behind when we take the meat out. This fond is a chef's secret to adding an additional layer of flavor to our veggies. Once the meat is taken out, add the bell peppers and cook for about 2 to 3 minutes. Then add the onions. Saute the onions until it's translucent. Make sure to mix so that way the veggies don't stick and burn on the pan. Now we're going to add the garlic. We're adding the garlic last because it'll cook quick and you don't want to burn the garlic. It becomes very bitter when overcooked. So now just saute the veggie mix until the garlic is fragrant. I just put some garlic powder, onion powder, and paprika to mine with a little bit more of salt and pepper. Before we assemble everything, preheat your oven to 350. Now that the garlic is fragrant, take off the heat and enjoy the smell while we assemble the rest of the casserole. Add in your sausage and hash brown and mix everything in the pan. You can also do this in a separate bowl if you really want to make sure that it's mixed all the way. But I'm also a fan of avoiding extra dishes, so I definitely chose not to do this. Once everything is completely mixed, add in your cheese, but only add half of it. We want to save the rest of the cheese for the end of the cooking time so we can create a nice crust and end up with that perfect top layer that every casserole deserves. Now that the casserole is completely mixed, make sure you level out the top so that way it cooks evenly in the oven. Pour in the egg mixture and make sure you take your time with this and get a nice even pour across the entire pan. Once you've successfully done that, put the dish in the oven and stare at it through the oven door for about 45 to 50 minutes. Before we keep going with the video, go ahead and smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification bell for more updates from our upcoming videos. After the time has passed, pull it out of the oven. Check to make sure the casserole is actually set. One way to check if the casserole is done is to poke the middle of the casserole with a knife and make sure that when it comes out, there's no liquid or any bits of the casserole coming out with it. Once we are sure that the casserole is completely cooked throughout, we are going to top it with a thin layer of cheese, or thick, that's up to you. I'm not judging, but don't put too much because it will become greasy on the top, and you definitely don't want that. We are going to place it back in the oven for the last 10 to 15 minutes, or until the cheese is nice and melted. This is how the top layer should look when it's finally ready to pull out of the oven. At this point, it's ready to serve. I do recommend garnishing it with some bacon bits or some spring onions like I did in this video, but a nice dollop of sour cream will also do the trick. So, kumain ka na ba? Let's eat some casserole together.